Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wadcast podcast. My name is Eddie Ifton. I'm the host of this show. This is not my normal voice. I don't know why I'm doing it. Hello everybody. How are you? Welcome. Interesting times. Interesting things going on. It's the French Revolution, everybody, all around this world, in every business. There's a comeuppance. And we're talking about it today. No, we're actually mostly talking about competitive CrossFit. And my guest is Chase Ingraham, who is a friend. He's a friend. He's one of my favorite people in the CrossFit business, in the CrossFit space, in the CrossFit world, in functional fitness, whatever this is that we do. He's a cool dude. He was an awesome CrossFitter. He made it to the games. How many people do that? Not many. You got to be in the tip of the spear, as they call it. He now commentates the games. He is a father. He is a gym owner. He was on the L1 Cert staff. He's done it all. He's there. He's a great person, and he's so fun to talk to. So I thought, time to talk to somebody that I can just have a good time and talk. Chase is the kind of guy that I would sit in a bar, have a beer, and talk for 12 hours about all this shit. So I thought I'd have him on the show. I love this episode. I hope you enjoy it too. Want to thank everybody that supports me, supports the show, supports what I'm trying to do, that considers this the best podcast in this space, because there's a lot of them now. Everybody has one. Everybody. And you choose to listen to mine, so I appreciate that. And if you do listen, I just want you to know one thing. Thank you. No matter what. If you donate and you give to our Patreon, thank you even more. Even more, I want to thank you. What happens is if you donate $5 a month, that's just $5 a month, you get yourself into what I call a drawing. If you look at how many people donate, you pretty much see that you can get yourself, you'll pretty much win. You will win, a Myopux and a leopard claw. And what these are is, a Myopux is an electronic muscle stimulator. It helps flush all the bad blood and bad stuff, waste after, it makes the inflammatory process happen faster. It pumps the blood. And it's what you're supposed to do for an injury. If you follow Gary Reinl, and read what he says, the guy who wrote the book Iced, this is your best bet. And, flushing waste and expediting the inflammatory process and making injury, if you want to get back out there quicker. I don't know how much quicker. In my experience, I think a bad injury can last about 6 weeks. I think this can cut it in 2/3. I think this can be about a 2-week thing. That's just my experience, and don't hold me to that. The leopard claw was something that I wasn't really into using until I went to a physical therapist, and they used it on me. And then I started using it and found out how good it was. It breaks up all the adhesions, and it's like a multi-tool device. It's this stainless steel kind of thing. I think it says Wadcast on it, these ones we send you. So they're awesome. Anybody that has one can vouch for them. Cole McFarland. How about that? How about Cole McFarland? How you are the winner of a Myopux, a Myopux and a leopard claw. So just send us a message. I'm going to send this over to Troy over there at Myopux and leopard claw and have him hook you up. So thank you. Thank you for supporting all you other people. If you don't have any money to donate, which I understand in these tough times, you know what you could do? You could go to iTunes. It's very simple. You just go to iTunes podcasts. It's podcast.apple.com and, give us a nice little give us a nice little review. That's all I'm asking for. Okay? And you can do that on your phone. You can do that on your whatever. It just really helps the show out. So nice little review, 5-star, say something nice. Don't say I forced you to do it. And the reviews really help in what's called the algorithm. Everybody talks about algorithms, but that's how more people find out about the show. So that's why. And we are up to 400. This is episode 430. So we've been doing this a long time. I'm a touring comedian that does fitness. I'm into all kinds of fitness. I'm doing it all now. I swam yesterday? Only a half mile in the lake. And then I did a 3-mile run. It was a quick day. Today I'm going to do a crazy kettlebell workout. That's what, I'm doing something different every day. I do a lot of CrossFit. I do a lot of endurance work. I do it all. I'm going to try to get into jiu-jitsu once I'm not afraid of COVID. Listen, guys, I don't tour anymore. I've just canceled all my dates through the summer. So, the only thing I'm doing is I do Talkin' Shit, which is my other podcast. It's a funny podcast. Check it out. Talkin' Shit with Eddie Ift. It's actually called Talkin's Hit. And, that's coming back. That's making a comeback. But we do that on a special platform called See You Live that you've got to pay to get involved. It'll be available on my website. It's also available on, whatever. I'm going to read some of the nice reviews we got. Here's one. The best fitness podcast out there. The show is an incredible lineup of guests who all have something to bring to the fitness community. The host, Eddie Ift, is the guy you could have a beer with and would keep you laughing the whole time. Thank you, Stovey WTX. I appreciate that. That's a nice one. Really enjoy the show. Murph's series of interviews was very cool. Eddie's hitting the balance between being entertaining and informative, suited for regular people. So, regular people interested in their health. True to why I always listen to the Elite Intermediateness. Favorite one of these style of podcasts. Let's see. This one is great show in searching for podcasts devoted to CrossFit. This was the first choice I made, and I am glad I did so. I really enjoyed listening to the show. Not only is it informative, it's continued. Not only is it informative, it is entertaining as well. I always believe that a serious topic can be still handled in a way that infuses some humor in it as well. And that is what this podcast accomplishes. I don't always have time to listen to the show on a regular basis when I take long trips in the car or just need to chill out. This is my first go-to. Keep up the great work, Eddie. That's Rev Built. Thank you. All you guys, thank you very much. We got a 4.8 out of 5. That means there's some 1 stars. You want to, let's read a 1 star. Come on. Let's read a 1 star. I love the 1 stars. Here's a 3 star. Here's a 2 star. Come on. Let's find a 1. Oh, here it is. Oh yeah. Disappointed. This is AHDKDKSNS. They said, I'm disappointed. The long ads in the middle of the show are awful. I understand the need for ads at the beginning, sure. But again, in the middle of the show, I turned off the episode. Well, I don't know if you understand how I do the show, but it requires an income for me and my family. So I do advertising, and at least I vet all my ads and find ones that I truly believe in and put them on the show. Some of these guys will take money from anyone. I turn money down often because I don't believe in them and I don't want to push bad shit to you guys. So I always try to find, we get most of our advertising comes in a lot of times. Like there's a company called Magic Spoon, has great cereal. I reach out to them and go, hey, I want to do ads for you. I love your product. I think it's amazing. And that's what happens a lot. A lot of times they come to us. When they come to us, I go, hey, let me talk to them on the phone. So I get on the phone with them, talk to them for a while, try their product. First, I try their product. Then I get on the phone with them, do some research on them, and find out if I want to work with them. A lot of times, halfway through, I will go, hey, I don't really like this shit. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Let's stop doing this. let's end our partnership. But that has happened in the past. But most of the time it's really, really good shit. And, we're very happy and we keep it up with them. And so I am very happy with my advertisers. And the reason I put them in the middle of the show is because if they're at the beginning, you just fast forward through them. Okay. So let's get on with the show. Nothing, crazy. I mean, they did move the CrossFit Games, they moved the date to August 17th. I believe there's a delay. That's in the news. I think that's going to keep getting pushed back. I don't know what's going to happen because everybody's trying to figure out where they stand in CrossFit right now. Let me see what else. You guys, that's it. Enjoy this episode with Chase Ingraham, everybody. I'm definitely too. Look at that hairline thing right there. Look at that. Oh, look, need the, yeah. Look, I look like Hitler.
I mean, you could shave some things and
I could play Hitler in a movie, I think.
Play a movie role.
Yeah. It's like, I've always tried to get a starring role in a film and someday I'll end up like, hey, you're going to be Hitler. Thanks.
You're like,
yeah.
Okay.
I remember when I went from being auditioning like for TV shows and movies a lot, and I was like boy next door. I was sometimes like sidekick.
Okay.
And then there was like this period of, no lie, within like a month, I got 3 auditions for that. The character description was, he's a loser but doesn't know it. By the 3rd one, I was like, I know it now.
Wait a second.
And now I'm no joke if I don't audition anymore unless it's like a buddies project because I just don't believe in it. But if I do, I'm like high school janitor. It's like, what happened?
Oh no.
I went from being like, I was almost in American Pie and in like Road Trip and all these movies. Like I had.
Oh, dude, those were like my upbringing movies.
Old school. I auditioned for every single one of them. I knew all the directors and they were all like, hey man, I really want you to get this part. You know, like we're pulling for you. And now I'm like, yeah, I might get the job as the creepy child molesting janitor in,
It's got 3 kids tied up in the storage room.
Yeah. Like nothing. So I don't even audition anymore. But enough about me. How was the Rogue Invitational?
Dude, it was awesome. Like what they pulled off.
I know.
It's so hard to kind of explain. Like even the people that didn't like it, you're just like, listen, this was a miracle. Like a technological miracle.
It's like the Rolling Stones playing together.
Right? It's like, how do they even do that?
I had no idea. When I saw it, I was like, wait, I thought these all were canceled. How the fuck are they going to do this? And then I look and everybody's like taping off their boxed area. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yes. Like when they had first described it, I was like, there's no way this is going to work. And if it does, there's no way it's going to be like visually stimulating and I mean, obviously you'd like to say like the casual fan, like you want to be invested in watching that, but how they pulled it off and what they did, it was about as good as you could do.
All right. Would Fraser have won if he was there?
Oh, well, if it's health thing, which he was talking about, no. Right? If he was in the shape he is currently in, no.
You don't think he would have won? Because he's claiming an injury. Claiming. Well, listen to me, conspiracy theorist.
Right. I don't know, man. So, in the state at which he was, like Fraser at full force, I mean, you can't say that he won it, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I said the same thing for Tia's. Like, I'm never going to pick against them until someone truly steps up because no one's been able to touch me.
Right. I
mean, last year at the games a little bit, but that was different.
I thought Noah had a chance. When Noah was coming up, I
really did. I thought he did. And then once that double workout came out, that changed everything.
That's what Hinshaw said something to me once about Fraser, about Froning, about these guys. He said CrossFit is an endurance event.
Oh, yeah.
And you can watch people doing well, but it's the last day. Who still has it? It's all about that endurance. And he's like, Froning was the first guy to be doing 3 workouts a day. And
Froning changed everything.
Yeah. And then Fraser took it to another level. And Fraser's has the best endurance of anyone.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I think people forget that. They're like doing Ironman, like they are. They're doing like a Tour de France.
Yeah, they're doing 10 times the Ironman. They're doing 4 days of the Ironman.
You did.
Yeah. Can we say that Pat Vellner and Matt Fraser, though, have the worst bodies of anyone in CrossFit? I mean, like, you look at them, they both take their shirts off. It's like, guys, keep them on.
I love it to an extent, especially for Pat, because he has such a not give a fuck personality.
Yeah.
And it's exuded by his outwardly appearance. And I think that's the most enduring quality of Pat Vellner, because like you see Rich and you're just like,
yeah,
I just don't look like that.
Yeah.
And I never will.
Yeah.
You're perfectly bronzed and toned.
Who's the guy, Marcus Philly?
Yes.
Marcus Philly is like, when people go, hey, I want to do CrossFit. Will I look good? I'm like, Google Marcus Philly. Like, see if there's anyone that's built better in this world than Marcus Philly. And then, but the spokesperson for CrossFit's Matt Fraser, that looks like he's a guy that, chops logs up in Canada.
I was going to say, he looks like a barroom brawler that just happens to be good at fitness. Yeah. And again, I love that. It is great. Makes the common man feel like it's attainable. It's not.
Who was the Canadian guy that used to be really good, that had the beard and the red hair?
Lucas Parker?
Lucas Parker, yeah.
Is he Canadian, or does he just live really far north?
No, I'm pretty sure he's Canadian.
I can see that.
He kind of had that look, just
exactly.
hairy body.
He's a lumberjack.
Picks up wood and throws it around his yard.
Like they're up in, chopping down trees with Wolverine. And
yeah. We had a guy like that in high school, Doug Hahn, who was on our football team, and he wouldn't come to the weight room with any of us. And we were like, he was our starting tailback or fullback. And we'd be like, hey, it's weight time. How come you don't have to? And he's like, I'm going home to chop wood. And we were like, what? He's like, and he was like the strongest guy on the team. He's like, I'm doing real shit.
Exactly, right? And those guys are all freaks. Yeah. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. So Tia destroyed.
Yeah. And she did it not necessarily like numerically, because it was kind of close. Well, it was closer than the men's side. But what it looked like in terms of effort exude and how calm she was.
Mm.
It was unlike, I've never seen a female athlete compete like that before.
Yeah. Who came in second of the girls?
Oh, it was Sarah?
Was it Sarah? No. Yeah.
No. Yeah, I think it was Tia Sarah Cara.
Tia Sarah Cara. Cara came in third.
Yes.
Wow.
She was competing at like midnight to 5 a.m.
Oh, wow. I never thought of that.
Anything about it, which I highly respect.
I also don't want to get creepy, but I just realized this. I had Ryan Flaherty on from Nike, that had a Nike training on a few weeks ago. He's great. And he was talking about a lot of the studies being done in women in their menstrual cycle. Mm-hmm. And again, I don't want to be creepy, but I never thought of that about women competing in sports, and that women don't have a choice of when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
And these girls, it could fall right into the wrong time when they have to compete, and they're fucked.
Yeah.
And
I never thought about it until I started coaching CrossFit, and especially teams.
Uh-huh.
And then that would come up. I'm like, oh, I didn't even cross my mind that could be a problem.
Yeah. So there's like, like everybody, no excuses. That's kind of an excuse.
I mean, yeah. Another reason why women are just so much better than men.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have to deal with.
Yeah. I mean, really, I say that
menstrual cycles.
Yeah. Babies and have a career at the same time.
Exactly.
Get sexually harassed by creeps like me.
And but that perfect movie role.
Yeah, they really do have it so much harder than us, and I think they're progressing so much more than us too in sports. Like they're making men look bad, like how good they're getting. What was the lift? Didn't somebody do some like crazy like 280? Didn't somebody clean 280?
So Tia clean and jerk 270.
What the fuck?
And she could have kept going. Like 280, 285 looked doable. Like 270, because she had hit 265 and won already, but no one would tell her that she won.
Oh my God.
Katie that from Rogue was like, don't tell her. Because no one is supposed to know anything. It's like she can keep going as she wants to. So she hits 270, and then finally they tell her, like, okay, you can stop. But it was probably the easiest lift that she had. Of the, how many did they do? 20?
And she just doesn't have. Oh, they did is that the one where they did like 20 first?
They started at 195.
Oh.
And then worked their way up 5 pounds at a time to 270.
And the men went 10 pounds?
Men went 10 pounds. So the men lifted way less than the women did in terms of reps.
Yeah.
But the most impressive thing of the weekend was the power snatch event. So it was 50 power snatches for time to start the event. So that was event A. And they all went like unbroken, which it was 95 and 65, which I was not expecting. And then the first heat went, I go, oh, the game has changed. And then they did this death by format. So every minute, starting at 11 reps, death by. So 11, 12, 13.
Oh, I thought it was one rep. They were going one rep max after that. I didn't watch it.
No. Yeah, that was the 2-parter.
So 11. So they. Oh.
And then to the 5-minute mark, then they started their death by.
Did Chandler Smith win that?
Chandler Smith won the clean and jerk.
Oh, and then.
Yeah, but Sam Briggs got to minute 17 or 18 and did 211 power snatches. Plus the 50 that she started with. She did 261 power snatches in 23 minutes. The next closest girl was 175 to her 211.
So creepy. It's so creepy.
It was the most impressive physical feat I could probably say I've ever seen in CrossFit.
You know what that says about CrossFit? If you want to get into this and you want to get good at it, it's like you're going to get, if you want to be good at it, 10 years from now, you're going to be good.
Right.
It's not like, oh, your body's going to adapt to, in 3 years, you're not going to be able to do that in 3 years.
And Sam's 38.
Yeah.
Like my excuse is always like, oh, I'm getting old and, I'm tired.
Yeah.
It's like, she's 38. She's the same age as me. And just doing it like she's 21.
Yeah. I don't think you can claim age anymore. I watch Tom Brady, Kelly Slater. I think age is like, I know it. I know it's true. I just went for a 10K run and thought I was killing myself. And then I looked at my time and I'm like, how am I so fucking slow? And I just go to age and, but it's not, because there's guys out there my age that are just like crushing it. It's it's an excuse.
It is. And I actually love that because, when I was younger and I would see like older people and, when I'm 15, older is 40.
Right.
And there's like, yeah, it's over. I was like 40 was a death sentence.
40?
I thought 2 years away from it. Exactly. But I'm 2 years away from it. And I'm like, I'm just getting started. Like I'm actually pumped to get older in a weird sense of that, just because of the training and how I feel. And I don't know. And people you see in the gym and the Tom Brady's and the Kelly Slaters and the Sam Briggs, like just what they're capable of. Shit, the Bill Grundlers.
Yeah.
Like,
Bill Grundler's a freak.
He is a unicorn.
What about, I've had him on Hip and Steel.
Yes.
He's the one, I say he should be the poster child of CrossFit.
Yes.
They should show him on everything they do and go, here's a guy in his 60s that can beat any 18-year-old.
Yeah.
I'll put him up against any 18-year-old in the country that does not do CrossFit, and he'll beat him in any facet of fitness.
Yeah. Maybe not top-end strength, but other than that,
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean,
you know what I mean? It's but the overall test, no shot.
No, like a fitness test, not just like a one-off of anything.
One-off, yeah, no shot.
Yeah. Just crush them. I don't think
I would beat them.
To be honest, like knowing where you are and how good you are, I think you would be very close. It'd be
a coin flip.
It depends.
And even then, I'd have to put in some serious work.
It depends because he's so in the training right now.
Oh yeah.
But like that, to me, that's what CrossFit is. It's like, oh my God, here's something that's going to make me a beast later in life. Like I'm working towards something rather than trying to maintain or whatever. Yeah, the guys.
Forever. That's me. That's the thing about all this. Like this is forever.
When I got out of college, I thought it was over. I was like,
yes.
Oh, now it's all downhill from here. Like you reach your peak when you're like 18, 19, 20 years old. And then it's all shit after that. Yeah. And everything, like I was like, oh, it's because I'm 22.
Right.
My shoulder hurts.
Yeah. For me, it was like graduate, get a job, get married, have kids, and die.
And get fat. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Get fat and then die.
Yeah.
Somewhere that get fat kind of changes on people's sliding scale, wherever that falls into play.
How are you handling the 2 children?
Not well. I could do better.
Brutal.
No, it's great, man. Honestly, with like the whole quarantine that happened, for us and our family, we're very fortunate that it was almost the best timing for where we were at. Like our daughter was born. 2 weeks later, we're in quarantine. Thankfully, the gym, we got supported more by our membership than we could have ever dreamed for. My wife was on maternity leave. So all I got to do for 3 solid months is just be home and be dad.
It's amazing how much people have supported these gyms.
Oh, man. And to me, that was the coolest part in a rough situation because, for a lot of affiliate owners, like I'm a month-to-month owner.
Yeah.
And I've been doing that for 8 years.
Yeah.
And I've been coaching for 12. But like I try to give everything I can to every person that walks in the door. And for the first time, not the first time, but like I had to lean on them. And they just put their hands up in support in a way that was unexpected. And not to mean that negatively. It was really cool.
That says something about, I always make fun of the CrossFit community, but that says something about it because I've never taken a handout from anyone in my entire life. I've never, I'm just always like, I'll figure it out. I'll blah, 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 blah. And this thing, my career was decimated. Like I don't have a date every date I have on the books is canceled. And that's my family's income. And, I've got 2 kids and I'm a gig worker. There's no, there's no way unemployment's going to give me the money of what I was making. And I've got a nut, I've got a house and 2 cars and I've got educations for my kids and blah, blah, blah. And there was no community. Like I have a fan base, but they sucked. You guys out there listening, I mean, there was nothing. There was not like, hey, how can I help you out? Hey, you need a place to live? Hey, can I pay your mortgage? None of that. I need to create an EDF community. But what I saw with, I was calling I've called a lot of friends throughout this whole thing that I thought were in a bad way. Maybe it's somebody who's alone and I'm just like, hey dude, you need to talk. I know you're alone. Or a girl that I'm really good friends with. I know she's like needs people, people that their businesses. And I've talked to all my friends that own CrossFit gyms and, every one of them has been like, no, the members have really helped out and come through. Cause I was predicting, I said, I'll bet half these gyms close.
Yeah.
And,
and guess which one's closed? The 24-hour fitnesses and the Gold's gyms and all the ones that are filing for bankruptcy right now.
Yeah.
And people are asking how it's going. I was like, we're okay. We actually got like 5 new members when we opened our doors. People that didn't even come to the gym.
That's crazy.
It's absolutely crazy. And I think that is so reassuring.
But the Golds and the 24-hour fitness, how were they able to sustain that business model?
Honestly, it's with thousands of people who forgot about their $10 a month membership.
Oh, it's one of those. They trick you and you don't look at your credit card. And I think that, like, people get mad at me and call me a socialist, and I'm not. I think capitalism's great to an extent. I think it can go too far. And that's one of those too far. And they'll go, well, it works out because look what happens. It falls apart. No, it's just when you open up your bank statement and you see somebody that's been charging you for 7 months or 8 months that you didn't look over and they did this like fine print kind of bullshit to you. That's the capitalism that I hate.
Yeah.
That somebody tacks on a bill to you and they're like, your fault.
Right.
You know, like if it was you and I was selling you something and it was a month thing, and I'd call you and I'd be like, hey, like a CrossFit gym, you'd be like, hey, dude, you haven't been in 2 months. What's going on? We want you in here. We want to, they say CrossFit's the gym where they actually want the members to come. Where are you? We want you to be part. But Gold's is like, oh, thank God they're not fucking showing up.
Yeah. Yeah. That's actually like, I've heard that story before as someone who worked in the Golds. Like the manager went to like the trainer and, he's like, hey, these people aren't showing up. He goes, my favorite members, the ones that pay and don't show up and screw up my equipment and make me clean things and spend money I don't need to. They're my favorite members. I'm like, that's pretty messed up.
Yeah, it's really messed up. And I am glad to see them go down the drain. And I mean, I hate to see people that like, you make Nautilus equipment and you're not going to sell this shit anymore.
Right. But the trickle-down effect is what really sucks.
Yeah.
But because somebody wasn't genuine at the top end.
And let's be honest, CrossFit has its problems too right now.
Yeah. That's another can of worms.
I'll try to stay off that hot topic because there's a lot of stuff that needs to flush out. And
it does. And I think...
Flush. I didn't say flesh. I said flush out.
Flush. Well, that's not a bad adjective either. But
because anything I say a week from now, it'll be like, you made no sense. Like you were totally wrong.
Yeah, and a lot of that is, I think more people should do because there's just so much happening, and we don't have to get into this. It's probably best not to. But
social media,
it's more like a step back. And then, like, let's figure this out because it's changing on the daily.
Yeah.
Like, if not hourly. There's one time, I think, when I left for Rogue on a Thursday, when I landed, something else had completely gone off the rails. And then that Friday morning, another thing, I was like, I can't handle this right now. I'm just going to talk about some fast CrossFitters for the next 2 days. Please.
Yeah, but here's what's happening. It's happening in my business in comedy. It's happening in the world, in politics, and it seems to be almost like the same thing in each one of them. And there's a division in both of them. And so we've created like almost two ideologies in this world. It's not even American. It's a global thing where there's these like two ideologies. And because of the computer and because of social media, we're able to go head to head at all times. And it's really ugly. And I'm hoping, I always said, I hope social media goes away. And people are like, it's never going to go away. It's always going to be there. And I'm part of it. And it's like, but I do hope that something happens, like it just builds and builds and builds till it implodes. And we go, let's go back to before.
Yeah, because and you're exactly right. Because, I mean, for lack of a better phrase, it's so black and white, right? It's like you're either on this side or you're on this side. And if you're not, then you are against me and everything. It's like, no, there's no such thing as one way or the other.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like even as like get as political as you want or as basic as you want, like cats and dogs. Like it's like, oh, I'm a dog fan. If you like cats, you're going to hell. Like that's what it feels like on social media right now. And it's frustrating. And honestly, I've always had this question for professionals in your line of work in comedy, how hard it must be or to do your job now. Whereas like it was funny to poke fun at all the things that like make us either ridiculously different or counteractive to one another. Like that's what I loved about it.
Yeah.
And now, you know, it just gets skewed and turned and twisted and like, I don't know what you can say anymore.
I try to get most of my supplements from food. Okay. However, most of the nutritionists I've talked to have talked about 2 or 3 supplements that you're not going to get that you should, maybe be supplementing. One of the most important one, magnesium, right? And if there's one mineral you should be worried about not getting enough of, it's magnesium. Magnesium is the body's master mineral. It's powerful. Over 300 critical reactions, including detoxification, fat metabolism, energy, even digestion is influenced by the presence of magnesium. There are 2 big problems here. Magnesium has been largely missing from U.S. soil since the 1950s, which explains why it's estimated that up to 80% of the population may be deficient. And most supplements contain only 1 to 2 forms of magnesium, when in reality, there are at least 7 that your body needs and benefits from. That's why I am so excited to tell you about a new magnesium product I've been taking now called Magnesium Breakthrough. It's the ultimate magnesium supplement, easily the best I've ever seen or experienced, with all 7 forms of this mineral. I'm even more excited because it's finally back in stock. Magnesium Breakthrough has been selling faster than the company who makes it. Bioptimizers has been able to keep up with. It's already sold out a few times, and due to supply shortages with everything going on in the world, it could very well be sold out again shortly. The Wadcast podcast team was able to arrange for some stock to be set aside just for our audience, and I guarantee it's the best deal available on this product. Seriously, with volume discounts combined with our custom 10% coupon code WAD10, you can save up to 40% off select packages of Magnesium Breakthrough. That's an amazing value, and I promise that deal is only available on this specific website, www.magbreakthrough.com/wadcast. 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 You won't find that deal on Amazon or even the company's own website. The deal is exclusively for Wadcast listeners, and it's legitimately for a limited time while supplies last. They've also completely revamped their checkout process, and it's much friendlier and easier. Magnesium Breakthrough is the most effective magnesium supplement I've ever tried. Say goodbye to having to buy 7 different bottles of magnesiums to get the complete dose. Go to www.magbreakthrough.com/wadcast. That's www.magbreakthrough.com/wadcast, and use the coupon code WAD10 to save up to 40% off select packages to get the most full spectrum and effective magnesium product ever. magbreakthrough.com/wadcast. Oh gosh. Time to talk about Eat the 80. Eat the 80. A friend of mine is an investor in really healthy foods, and I was like, hey, do you know about Eat the 80? He's an investor in like healthy products, and I was like, do you know about Eat the 80? And he was like, no, I don't. I was like, well, you better go order some right now, because it's the most delicious tasting food in the world. My wife is a great cook, amazing cook, and she makes really, really healthy stuff. And I would never tell her this, but I would rather eat the 80 than my wife's food. I know that sounds terrible, but it is so delicious. It is the most delicious food I have ever tasted. It's like Jean-Georges is a restaurant in New York where if you go and have dinner, it's going to cost you $500. Or you go to like French Laundry. I think is French Laundry still the best restaurant in America? I don't know, but I would rather have Eat the 80, which I throw in the microwave for 2 minutes. It's that good. I don't know what I want to find out. I got to ask them, who is your chef? Who is the guy making this? What does he do? How does he know how to do this? There's new options every week. There are 30 dishes on the menu at a time. There are some that are my staples that I love: the meatloaf, the steak, there's always different cuts of steak and meatloaf, the scramble, the breakfast scramble. They have add-ons and sides like potato salad, grilled chicken, gluten-free brownies. You can pause at any time. It's not one of these things where you got to like keep doing it and then start over and pay a fee up front. No, just get on. The orders are due every Wednesday. by midnight Eastern time. Boxers are delivered via 2-day shipping to ensure freshness. They arrive on either a Tuesday or Wednesday, the week after you order them. If you happen to live in Gainesville, Florida, we hand deliver them on Monday. How good is that? Everything in the box is recyclable. There's a really cool thing. You can go to their how to recycle, because they send you this like big pack, like that keeps it cold, and they show you how to recycle it. So go to how to recycle on Eat the 80. But again, it's the best tasting thing. That's the most important thing. And it's 100% gluten free. They got Whole30 options, as well as vegetarian, keto, macro balance. Like I said, 2 to 3 minutes in the microwave. Animal proteins, ethically sourced. What more do I need to tell you? What more? I mean, haven't you been sold on this already? I am. My mouth is watering. I want to do it. Their kitchen is as clean as it possibly can get. They are going overboard because of COVID to make sure that you get the best, healthiest product in the world. I'm looking at the menu right now. Let me tell you some of them. Sweet and sour chicken, braised mushroom. I don't even like mushrooms, and I've had some of their stuff with mushrooms in it, and I absolutely love it. Braised mushroom chicken with Hungarian potatoes. Oh my God. Barbecue beef tips with pineapple jalapeno coleslaw. Tuscan Mac and Cheese. The Tuscan Mac and Cheese. You're going, wait a minute. Is that, what's it made with? Ingredients. Tuscan Mac and Cheese, gluten-free penne pasta, heavy whipping cream, Springer Mountain Farms chicken breast, cheddar cheese, feta cheese, red onion, red bell pepper, sun-dried tomatoes, carrot scallion, gluten-free bread, crumbs, basil, Italian parsley, dried thyme, dried oregano, broccoli. That's it. Now, you know what? That one is 685 calories. I'm pretty paleo, but I'd probably eat that one anyways. But if you are paleo, maybe don't go, but you could get the grilled chicken kebab. You could get there's so many options in here. This is a great one. The steak Siciliano. It comes with, it's basically grilled ribeye with salsa, toasted breadcrumbs, and it's got like a kind of pasta with fresh steamed broccoli. Oh, my God. Oh, this is so good. All your macros are in here. You can use with macro sticks. By far my favorite, these chicken dumplings. Gluten-free flour, Springer Mountain Farms chicken breast, chicken stock, celery, sweet potato, yellow onion, carrot, parsley, garlic, black pepper, olive oil, and sea salt. How do they make this that good? How? I don't know. Please go to eatthE80.com. Like I said earlier, I only sell products I believe in. This one I believe in wholeheartedly, and hope this is the longest ad I've ever done because it's more of a testimonial. But just make sure you get eatthE80.com. One of the best things, you can be a partner. info@eatthE80.com. info@eatthE80.com. If you're a gym owner, you get your members on it. If you're a trainer, you get your members on it, and they give you a 10% reward for every single person you get on there. Next thing you know, you're eating free. How about that? And they've set up a special coupon code WAD40. WAD40. If you go to eatthE80.com, when you check out, use WAD40, you're going to get $40 off. It's $20 off your first 2 orders. $40 off. That's a great deal. WAD40. Go do it right now. Eat the 80. I believe it's eatthE80.com. Let me make sure. eatthE80.com. eatthE80.com. And that's 80. eatthE80.com. Hey guys, listen up. It's hashtag Stay for May. Do you guys know about this? If you're a gym owner, which many of you are, on June 1st, you received an email with instructions on how to distribute the $100 gift card brought to you by O2, Born Primitive, Peori, and Bear Complex, to all your members who kept their memberships active in the month of May as part of the hashtag Stay for May campaign. If you're curious if your gym qualified, please email stayformay@drinko2.com. That's stayformay@drinko2.com, and tell them that the Wadcast sent you. Please say, Wadcast sent me, want to find out, hey, do I qualify? Do my members get a $100 gift card? I would love to give them a $100 gift card for them being loyal to our gym. $100. they get to use at O2, Born Primitive, Peoria, Bear Complex. Those are great places. Every single one of them. Great company. O2, my favorite by far. It is the best recovery drink there is. I'm waiting for mine right now because I need it so badly. I love it more than anything. It is delicious. It is caffeinated if you need the caffeine. I don't need caffeine right now. But if you need caffeine, it's great. I just like, and it's natural caffeine, which is awesome. It's like in green tea, and it's oxygenated water that gets into your system and does all kinds of cool stuff like detoxifies your liver. It's the most awesome drink there is. You can look at all your others and say how great they are, but none of them are like O2. And it comes in a big 16-ounce can, which is great because it's like the amount you need. And it's got sodium, potassium, magnesium, all the stuff you need, all the electrolytes, all of them. And it's what's in an IV solution. So, when you're dehydrated, they send you to the hospital, they hook you up to an IV, and they're like, oh, he's all better now. We gave him an IV. Why go to the hospital? Just give him an O2. I'm not saying do that in that case. I mean, go to the hospital. But like if you're just training, give yourself hydration, and you're going to get like, you know what I'm talking about, like medical level kind of stuff. It's great. So go to drinko2.com. And if you're in that Stay for May thing, send the email to stayformay@drinko2.com. Tell them Wadcast sent you. When I started comedy, before I started comedy, as a kid, I had comedy albums like you put on a turntable. Mm-hmm. And that shows how old I am. And I had Lily Tomlin, white woman, Cheech and Chong, Chinese guy and a Mexican guy. I had Bill Cosby, rest in peace. He's dead, right? Richard Pryor, who was it? Steve Martin and Joan Rivers. So I had two white.
Joan Rivers.
Yeah, I love Joan. To this day, I love Joan. Joan might be one of my favorites. So never apologized ever for anything she ever said. Mm-hmm. Two white women, Chinese guy, Mexican guy, two black guys, one white guy. Never once did I ever think about their race or their sex. I just was like, this is funny. You got to hear this. This is funny. And
they're all speaking the same language.
Yeah. And so even as a kid, it never occurred to me like, ooh, this guy's different, or this is, I was just like, this is funny shit. Yeah, and I would want to share it with my friends. And I think identity politics has been created. It's a construct that's been created to divert people's attention from the real problems. Yeah. And it's being used constantly, and it's fucking up everything.
It really is.
Everything. And it's so funny because it's happening in my business. It's happening with police. It's happening with CrossFit. And this identity politics, nothing good comes from it. I don't want to say I believe in racism, and I believe it exists, and I believe systemic racism, and I believe we have to combat it and all those things. But I worry about helping, like, just constantly catering to marginalized people, because there's always somebody more marginalized. Yeah. And then you're catering to the lowest instead of to the best. It's like the opposite of competitiveness. It's like, oh, okay, let's. Yeah. And it's like, okay, well,
it's a participation trophy.
Right. But then it gets to like, hey, that guy has worse of a disability than you have. We need to give him the job. Well, then this guy, he's just a head, in a wheelchair. We need to give him the job. But the job is, requires him lifting. Doesn't matter. And then at that point, you're like, oh, now we've fucked everything up. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Sucks.
I sound like I've been smoking weed. How much I'm going off on tangents, but we're supposed to talk about the Rogue Invitational.
That's right.
We didn't have to. It was a weird thing. How many people watched it?
I think the last time I checked, there's been over 1 million views.
Wow.
YouTube shows collectively. Do
you know, like, people don't talk about this, but like TV shows, I know friends of mine have TV shows that are on fucking shit channels. Like, I'm not going to name the channels because I want a job. But they'll say, like if you find out they got like 200,000 views.
Yeah.
On a TV show where they have a budget of $300,000 an episode.
Wow.
An episode. Sometimes like 3 million. Like crazy budgets. And you're like, why are they spending that money when the Rogue Invitational just got 1 million eyes on it?
Right.
And the budget was probably like 50 grand.
I have no idea. But, I mean, that was really cool because I felt a little bit of pressure going into the weekend because of the state of everything was in CrossFit. It just felt like it was coming to a head and then get worse and worse and worse.
They're still
like, we need this so bad.
The people are there though. Nobody's leaving functional fitness.
Right.
They're just dealing with the the turmoil within.
Yes.
And as long as, it's like Glassman even said, the cream's always going to rise to the top. So whatever you put out there that's good. So Rogue puts out a good event, people are going to watch it. Dubai, they put out a good event, people are going to go to it. Wadapalooza, you do a good event, people are going to watch it, no matter who's sponsoring it, who's in charge of it. The audience is there. The audience has been created. They're not leaving this. And not everybody's going to quit CrossFitting and pick up Zumba. Like we're done. There's a new fad.
Exactly.
Yeah. If anything, it just keeps evolving into, something more advanced or something, which is completely possible.
Yeah. I think that was a hard thing when they kind of dissolved the media department, is that they were on the precipice of doing something monumental with just coverage of the sport in general. Mm-hmm. Because there is a huge fan base and market for it. Mm. And they just missed it. They lost it. And that was hard because you could see it coming. And those of us that were kind of like internal with that, like we knew that something amazing was on the horizon. And it sucked that it just...
I've said it before. I think you and I talked about it. Just watching... I don't know any other sport that created their own media. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't think UFC even did it.
I mean, they have their own networks now, but they don't have their own, like to your point, it's like, ABC or CBS or whatever, like they'll air a NFL game.
Right.
But they don't, like the NFL doesn't have they have the NFL network now, but they don't control the content.
Right. Like CBS and ABC were the first ones to go out and produce the content and do it for them. Right. Where CrossFit was like, hey, we'll make it ourselves. And it's like, you can't do that. And they were like, yeah, we can.
Yeah. And we do whatever we want. Yeah. And they still do that.
And then like guys within the business start buying their own cameras and buying their own equipment and coming out and doing it. And it's what built CrossFit. The media department is what built it, and social media and getting all those, that's where it all started for all of us. It was just watching shit on the internet and watching some guy do some workout and go, why am I watching another dude work out right now?
Yeah, but I can't look away.
What did I just see? Someone posted something. Oh, there's that guy, that British guy that goes around everywhere, and he gets like a couple 100,000 every little video he makes about CrossFit. And all it is
Richie.
Yeah, that's it.
What's his name? I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And it's just like edited together, just his day. Like, and not like, no offense to him, but it's just like, here's a clip, here's a clip, here's a, I caught myself watching one the other day.
I was like, oh, okay.
We're voyeuristic.
Now you have, and that was kind of what stemmed out. And I would say for a lot of my friends, the positive side, like Marcin and Heeper and the Buttery Bros, and like, Armin's doing his own thing now. And like, it gave them their own platform and avenue to like really do their own thing. And it's really cool to see it working for them, because I knew, especially like Marcin and Heeper, like how hard they worked while part of HQ.
Yeah.
And then just kind of getting casted out.
Yeah.
And then what, right? It's like, it's not just two guys, it's like it's two families.
Yeah, that's true. But I didn't, again, they didn't lose their ability. They lost, they lost their job, and they were able to turn it around and turn it, because their films I mean, they've got to really do well with those films and make some good money, because those films show up on Netflix. We're talking like Fittest on Earth and those films. Somebody was telling me, somebody like a comedian or something, or maybe a surfer. Maybe it was Kelly Slater talking about it, saying like their film came out and was supposed to like do really well. And they're like, yeah, and this fucking CrossFit film beat me.
Oh,
yeah. Like,
well, the pre-sales for the Fittest was the number one pre-selling movie on Netflix prior to it coming out of any movie. I think like Star Wars was second.
Jesus.
Which is amazing. So it's cool to see that for them, that they could make something of themselves outside of the, because we didn't know where anybody would land on their feet. And it's been really cool to see a lot of my friends that I was really worried about, because, I wasn't directly employed to CrossFit HQ.
Right.
And it's like, if I had got, say I was, but I got laid off, it's like, I still have the gym.
Yeah.
Right. At the time I was still on staff, but even if that disappeared, it's like, I still had something to fall back on that I had before I even did any of these things. They had nothing. So I was really worried. And then to see all of them kind of start to find their niche and just flourish, personally, it's like, I'm really happy that they got to do that, just because they work really hard. They're great people, like all of them. So it's been neat to see them grow.
I was talking to Will Edmonds the other day, who's the CNN correspondent that covers CrossFit. And we were talking about, what's going on. And he's like, yeah, I pitched it to CNN as like, this is the biggest story to hit CrossFit ever. And
we've had some doozies.
Yeah. It's an interesting story. Somebody, and it'll probably be those guys, the Buttery Brothers will probably do it, but somebody should do it. Maybe not them, because it's probably going to end up being somebody who's on the outside, who is not a fan of CrossFit, to make that documentary about CrossFit, to make it look bad because of all the conflict and all the controversy and all that, which is in any organization.
Right. That's true.
Any organization has this shit. Look at Bikram Yoga.
Whoa, Jesus. That
guy
can we not get painted in that picture?
Yeah, that guy had to run to India or something. He's like hiding out. But I'm sure the NFL has many, 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 many giant conflicts in soccer and baseball and whatever. I mean, look at the steroid conflicts and all those things. So, our controversies. So somebody will do it, and it will be the most fucking interesting documentary.
I mean, I'll watch.
Everyone will watch. It's and everybody will be angry. I always think about it, because I made a documentary before. I'm like, oh my God, this is like the greatest material ever. But I just don't want to do it, because as much as I might seem like, I'm not a provocateur, and I'm not going to go out there and be like, here's how what's his name? Dinesh D'Souza. Who's the guy? Dinesh D'Souza or whatever. He's the Republican guy that makes all those documentaries about, or like Michael Moore. It's like, I just don't want half the world to want to kill me.
Yeah.
And
I like to stay in that safe lane too.
And you could go make a documentary about CrossFit that will make you tons and tons of money, but you're going to have half the people in the CrossFit world literally are going to want to slit your throat. And then the other half are going to be like, yeah, man, you're totally right.
Told you.
Yeah.
Told you, bro. It's all fucked up. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah. And I really am the guy in the middle. It's so funny, because for the beginning, like, of my CrossFit experience, I was like so anti-Glassman. So I was like, this is a fucking cult. I want nothing to do with this. I'll work out there, but I'm not going into your community event. And then I was like, oh, I see all the good in it, blah, blah, blah. Do the show. The show's been successful. But then when this happened, everybody's like, oh, we're leaving. What should we do? And people are calling me going, what should we do? And I'm like, don't fucking call me. And,
got a lot of those phone calls too.
And I was like, I don't know, sit and think about it. Like, but everybody's jumping ship. And I was like, does that, like, it's not, it's like the Titanic.
Do you remember that whole thing your parents used to tell you about the whole bridge in your buddies?
Yeah. And so I became this like voice of reason of, well,
let's. Like, who am I?
Yeah. I was like, why am I here? I am like, but I do it a lot. I do that with everything. And the problem with that is when you are a middle of the road guy, everybody ends up being mad at you.
Yeah, that's actually a good point because you don't serve either side's agenda. And so they both fucking hate you.
Yeah. That's what happens to me all the fucking time with this shit.
Which is extremely unfair because everyone needs to be the middle of the road person and see both sides and both perspectives and then formulate an opinion.
Because it's like...
And I didn't say answer. I said opinion.
Yeah, because it's like being like... People are like, what do you think of the Eagles playing the Giants? And you're like, yeah, you're both both your fans, you're a bunch of assholes. And they're like, well, now they all hate you. And it's you're not taking a side. You're not on a team. And so it should be, oh, you're not on our team? Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
But what do you mean you're not on our team? Yeah. And people get mad at people now for not being on their team. I've had
any team.
Yeah.
It's like pick a side. I'm like, what?
I'm a registered independent voter. And I have liberals and conservatives just mad at me all the time. Like I can't ever make them happy. When I'll go, well, he's right about this, but she's right about this, and maybe a guy should come to a...
Which is normal human, like, thinking. Because no one's all right, and no one is all bad. And apparently, this entire social media world is full of perfect human beings.
Yeah.
Like, where were you when I was growing up?
I'm so afraid to say anything that people are going to go, what about what you did in 2012 when...
Yeah, exactly. It's like I scrubbed your Twitter account when you were 17 and you said the F word for a homosexual at the time.
Yeah.
It's like, well, yeah, when I was 8 years old, everybody called me that.
Yeah.
Because that was another word for just, I don't know.
That's just what they call me in gay bars. When I'm in the bathroom glory hole.
And like everybody wants to do this like retroactive justice.
It's weird. It's weird.
It's unsettling. Some of it is I'm okay with. Some of it I'm not.
It's scary because I feel like eventually they're going to get everybody. Like,
but then who's getting them? Like who deserves?
They do.
Man,
they do. Let me tell you a story. I don't know. Like I know this from comedy. Do you remember the guy Shane Gillis that was he was hired by Saturday Night Live, and then a day later they went through his Twitter account and found that he and his podcast that he had made all these Chinese jokes and said chink and said this and said that and the next thing you know, NBC and SNL are making an apology. They're firing him, blah, blah, blah. And, I looked at what he said. It was pretty shitty, but it was, I'm pretty sure it was made in jest. It just wasn't that funny. Like it could have been funny. Like Norm Macdonald would have done it funnier kind of thing. But, no one's as good as Norm. But I'm looking at it. Well, then I'm on so many Twitter feeds and things, and I see this like little argument going back and forth. And it turns out the guy who called him out, somebody used this program. Like if you delete your tweets, they can find them. Oh. And turns out that day he deleted like 7,000 of his own tweets. Whoa. And so they had just and this was like months later. They had combed through that. They had combed through how do you make 7,000 tweets? But he had made all these racist tweets of his own. Yeah. And then
the guy who
called him out that destroyed his career. And it's just this like Jesus. Everybody's eating their own. It's like stop. Like I get it. Nobody should. I don't know though. I don't know how far you, because I'm one for freedom of speech and think like all humor is funny and our differences are what make us funny. And I don't want anyone to get hurt, and I don't want people to be racist or hurt people's feelings. But I know this, and I've said it a million times. Me and the other comedians sit around together, and we're all of different race, religion, sex, whatever. And we fucking rip the shit out of each other, and we find whatever we can find about the person, and we terrorize them, and we have more fun And if you sat down at our table, you'd be terrified of the things we're saying. You'd be like,
I'm like, should I move tables so I'm not associated with this conversation?
There's a table at the Comedy Cellar in New York City that has a sign up that says comedians only.
Nice.
And you can bring a friend with you and they will sit down and they will shit their pants because they can't believe the comments that are going back and forth with each other and just the unadulterated, but that's why there is no racism at that table. Mm-hmm. And there's no one gives a fuck other than some gay writer one time said that he couldn't work at the Comedy Cellar because it was a white boys, blah, 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 white man's network. And I was like, what are you talking about? Gina Yasheres, one of my good friends. She's a black lesbian British woman who plays the club every night and sits there. That's how everyone is. There's gay comics, there's Muslim comics, there's, Aziz, you name it, they're there.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are you talking about? I said, the only thing they discriminate against is unfunny. And so if you're not funny and that's why you're not working there. And I think that's why, and I don't know if I'm on a soapbox today, but this identity politics thing is a lot of just really shitty people trying to bring successful people down because they can, because it's this fuck you and your success. And I don't have it and I didn't achieve it. So I'm going to find the one thing I can pin on you and pull you down because I didn't get it.
I think that's the unfortunate power of social media is there's no buffer between those two.
Yeah. And and look, like you said, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Mm-hmm. And, all this stuff in the country, sometimes I've said it about cops. I'm friends with some of the best people in the world that are cops. Mm-hmm. Some of the best people I know are police officers. I have a friend at the California Highway Patrol. Couldn't be one of the best guys I know. One of my best friends in high school, nicest guy I officially know, was a policeman, is a DEA agent now. The nicest, best guy I know. Mm-hmm. Now, I also know two kids in high school that were in a gang that when they got out of high school and got their GED finally, they became cops. And I saw one at the gym one day and I said, hey, what are you doing? He said, I'm about to become a state cop and then I can kick the fuck out of you, you cunt, and do it legally. And I was like, all right. Okay, this is
been
scary.
Hanging on to that one for a while.
Yeah. It was like 10 years later too. I was like, okay.
Billy Madison, where he's sitting on the couch with the lipstick and this list behind him. And Eddie Ift is at the top.
But that's what's going on. And so you've got to decipher between who's good, who's bad.
And there's that middle ground I keep talking about. I was like, God, there's shitty people everywhere. Unfortunately, there shouldn't be shitty people in those types of positions.
Yeah, sure. Chris Rock made a really good joke. Did you hear? He said, about pilots.
Bad Apple joke?
No, the pilot one.
The pilot. Yes, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
There's actually a website. I think it's called 99.9% was good enough, and it was terrifying because I don't know what this was in college, and it was an engineering class. It's like all these statistics that if 99.9% went right, how much would actually be going wrong. Mm-hmm. And one of them was flights, and 3,000 planes would crash a year.
Jesus.
Oh my God. I'm flying based off the actual concept of perfection.
Yeah.
That's a real attainable thing. And it was surgeries and all these other stats that just scared the death out of me.
But that's a good thing for police to work. But police have so much extenuating circumstances. Mm-hmm. And, I don't know. I don't want to get into it because it's, again, just gives, it's like we set ourselves up. You say something wrong and all of a sudden, right. You had a podcast. So does everybody.
Exactly. Shoot, I started one to just talk more.
I just said, this is an old joke I used to have. I said, there's going to become a point where, there's nobody listening to podcasts because everybody's making one.
On one. Yeah.
And I think we're almost there.
We're getting there. I mean, shoot, that's why I picked one that dealt with just like numbers.
What is yours?
So it's called Get With the Programming. Mm-hmm. So it's actually me and Bill Grundler. And we just go through all the programming that comes out. Now there's nothing, so we're just doing this whole like retroactive history of the CrossFit Games series. We go through every year and determine whether it was a good test or not, just based off what the events were and how it should like kind of balance out.
I know Rich Froning listens. He has to. He'll tell you.
Just wait until we get to those years.
Have you ever talked to him?
Test. Yeah.
About like he'll go, oh yeah, that was March 3rd. That workout was dumbbell cleans at 45 pounds, and then toes to bar. It was 18 toes to bar, and it was 4 rounds. And you're like, are you Rain Man?
That recall, yeah.
It's really creepy. And I love Rich. He's the nicest guy in the world.
Yes, he really is.
But he talks about it, and I'm like, nobody cares. Like,
got it.
You just remembered
yeah. It was like a workout on a Tuesday. Like it wasn't even a CrossFit Games.
That's what I mean. I will walk out of the gym and I will get home and my wife will go, "What'd you do today?" And I'm like, I can't remember.
You're like, oh wow, I'm sweating. I forgot that I done something.
Yeah, but like he remembers every workout and rep scheme, and I'm surprised he's not listening and like.
I mean, maybe. But for us, it's like, at least it's like, I don't want to be in the politics. I don't want to be in the CrossFit news. We just want to talk about workouts.
Yeah.
And not even nutrition, because even then you have.
Yeah.
Like, can we just talk about programming?
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun.
I always say this show, I either like to be informative or entertaining. And I don't care either way it goes. I'm like, I don't give a fuck as long as people are entertained. But I do like to evolve. Like I was super into CrossFit, and then I started bringing in like my workout yesterday. I did a CrossFit workout yesterday, but I only have one kettlebell at my in-laws' house, so I'm just doing like everything. Yeah. And I did a swim in the lake. I did like a mile swim.
Sweet.
And to me, it's like I like to use my CrossFit to do other things. So
exactly,
I will feel better if I did a mile swim than if I did a CrossFit workout, because it's like, oh, I did something different. And so if I could bring on a swimming expert to talk on the show. Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah. I forgot. I mean, I didn't forget.
Ask and you shall receive.
Oh, God, you should see my stroke, how bad it is. Not as bad as CrossFitters.
That's a good point, because I tell this to people all the time, like take the competition side out of it, because that's like the top 0.01%. Is that everything I do inside the gym is so I can do everything I want to do outside of it. Mm-hmm. That's it. That's the whole point. The reason why you can go and do that mile swim is because you did CrossFit. You do whatever you want, or go for your hikes or your long runs or anything. It's like the CrossFit's just like have that mainstay overall fitness development, so you can do whatever you want.
And the truth is, you can't do all those other things if you do CrossFit like 100%.
Correct.
Because you'll be knocked out.
Oh yeah, no shot. You still got to do the other things.
Yeah,
but it's like this great kind of like middle ground where I don't know. I've said this on a few places, like just a yes man. It's like, hey, do you want to go do this? Like climb this mountain for a week? I'm like, yep, I can do that. You want to go swim this? Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah,
help me move. I don't want to, but I can.
That's an interesting concept, because I'm sort of the same way, and I would never have been able to do all these things without CrossFit. But for a while, I wasn't able to do them well because I became too obsessed with CrossFit.
And that's the pitfall there too.
Yeah.
But I think for the casual fitness for life person, it's perfect.
Yeah, there's a sweet spot where you, 4 to 5 days a week, you get in there, you do the what's not prescribed, what you can do. Not trying to do any Rich Froning programming or no, I'm serious. Like these people, like
I get it. I'm with you.
I mean, I dislocated my hips practically doing outlaw.
Oh God, there's one programming avenue I can talk about.
What happened? Did he go to jail or something?
I don't know. I can't speak to that person.
I haven't heard the name. What was his name? Rudy?
Yes. I wouldn't have thought about it until you said that.
Where did he go? I
don't know.
It was the first.
That was the outlaw.
It was the first thing that everybody was like, I'm going to get better than everyone else. I have the secret program. And
I'm going to overtrain and get injured before I make the CrossFit Games.
God, was I fucking injured.
It was ridiculous. I'm not trying to tear anyone down, but
every joint
I would look
in
at
my
that,
body.
and even the people that did it, I'm like, okay, not see you in 2 years.
Yeah. I would go to the gym, and my wife, I think she was my fiance at the time, and she'd be like, it used to be, I'd go to the gym and I'd be home within an hour. And I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to the gym. And she's like, what time do you think you're going to be home? And I'm like, probably tomorrow.
It's like, well, I got to do this Metcon, and then I have barbell strength, and then I have barbell gymnastics. What the? Barbell conditioning, and then gymnastic strength, gymnastic conditioning.
I should text Armin right now. I guarantee Armin knows where Rudy is. How much you want to bet? I bet you Armin knows.
He probably does. I could see he knows that.
Armin is so weird. He knows fucking everything. He knows where Glassman is. If I text him right now and said, where is Glassman in this country right now? He'd be like, he's at his house in Portland. I know from a source. Yeah. So let's see what happened to Rudy from,
that guy.
What happened to Rudy from Outlaw? Question mark.
I think the last time I saw him was 2013 in person.
Yeah, that's about. No, I probably was doing it in like 12. I don't know.
Because 12 is when it took off. Because 12 is when the games were and regionals got super heavy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and so I think his athletes were really successful because at the time they were just massively overtraining. So they were actually like prepared for that year. And that was a very high volume, heavyweight regionals for one, and then the games for another. So like a lot of their athletes were successful. So they either had success and then everybody jumped on board. You're like, this is it because Rich trains a lot. So I need to train a lot too. I was like, no, Rich trains a lot because he can train a lot, but he's really smart about it and he's better than you.
Yeah.
And he's just a freak of nature.
And that brought the boxes in when everybody started doing the Olympic weightlifting off the boxes and
oh yeah, jerk blocks and all. I mean, but that was just West Side. Like all it was just taking everyone else's workout and then putting it all together in a single day when it should have been a week.
It was like a week of work in a day.
It was. It's like, all right, we're going to do .com. And then we're going to do conjugate method, and then we're going to do CrossFit gymnastics, and then we're going to do Catalyst Athletics weightlifting, and then we're going to run a half marathon. You're like, what the for Monday? Like, okay.
I did a similar programming. What's his name? Big Bobby D out of Australia from Raw. I did his programming for a little bit, and because he was training James Newberry.
Okay.
And I would go to James's gym and I would amazing. And an amazing guy, one of the best guys. And I would look at their board, what they were prescribing, and I would go, I got to go out the back door. I don't want to do this. This is ridiculous.
Is this for the month of January?
What he did was they were all condensed and they were so much smaller. And I would do one and I'd be like, oh, I feel fine. I can do the next one. And then I would do the next part of the workout and I was like, oh, I feel good. And I feel like I got something done there. And now I'm going to do this. And then it would be like 4 parts. And then I'd leave the gym. It would take an hour and I'd be like, that was great. And then after I'd be in that city for a month, I always in that city for a month. And I go, I feel like I'm in the best shape I've ever been in. And then I would talk about it on the show and the guy just wrote to me and he's like, hey man, you're using my programming. And I was like, I didn't even know. And I started doing it and I was like, this is great stuff. And then I started really getting into it and I was like, I'm hurting myself again. And he's like, how old are you? And I told him, he's like, I have a master's one. You should be on that. And I was like, yeah. So I switched to the master's. But on your podcast, do you guys talk about other people's programming or just games?
Yeah, so that's the idea. So what we want to eventually do, we just started this, I think, when quarantine hit, I think March. And we want to, talk to, the comp train and just like get their philosophy and what they do. Right? Talk to the programmers out there, the Invictuses, the Brutes, the Misfits, Street Parking, like all those guys, DECA, and just kind of highlight all these other programmers out there. Listen to their ideas and their philosophies, why they do the things they do, and just have a conversation with that, because you see it everywhere. But I kind of just want to know what their inspirations are and why they do it. So right now we're just doing a fun series about the CrossFit Games, but sanctioned events kick back up. We'll do one on every sanctioned event. Regionals are gone, but we'll do a history of that, and that's how we want things to kind of progress as we move through this.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that, because that's not done in anything else. It's like if you go into football or swimming or soccer or whatever sport you play, you have to just basically put your trust in your coach, and that he's the best coach, and you're going to be with him for 4 years, and in 4 years he's going to make you the best player you can be. And then you move on to a new coach with a whole new system, and you're going to work in that system. And you don't go in other sports. You can't go. I mean, you can leave your team or leave your college, but you really can't for the most part. That's a big change. Yeah. But in CrossFit, people are like, I'm going to take a little bit of this guy, a little bit of this guy. I'm going to make my own. I'm going to,
cherry pick here.
Yeah.
And here.
Oh, I do it myself. I mean,
there's a barbell in that? No, thank you.
Yeah. I go to that WOD generator thing sometimes online.
Oh, yes.
I'm just so bored. Like, I'll go like here. I have a lake. I can run, and I've got a kettlebell, and I go, this is what I have. Give me a workout.
That's cool.
Yeah. And it'll just,
but it should be that simple.
And it just flushes it out for me. And I'm like, there you go. That's all I'm doing today. No, I don't need the stress of following a program, and, I'm not competing against anybody.
Thing.
Yeah. So, but for people that are serious about it, it's who's the genius that you're going to.
Yeah, and that's what we want, is like give people a more and also like highlight what they do, because a lot of work goes into those things, and so it's, I think like even gosh, there's so many out there.
All right, I'm going to put you in a hard position.
Okay,
who's a good one? I'm not going to say who's the best. Who's a really really good programmer?
I like what.
You're worried.
No, I'm worried. I'm just trying to remember. Yeah, I know you have the price. Like, oh well, if I pick this one, it doesn't mean the other ones are bad. I like Bergeron's workouts as individually ones that come out with. I'm like, oh, that looks like fun to do.
Yeah.
They all have their ones. There's ones that are just, for where I'm at, harder than I feel like going.
Yeah.
But for the overall, I like what Ben Bergeron does. I mean, and I know Ben, and he's super cognitive of what he's trying to accomplish. Volume aside, and how he puts it together, that's something different. But some of the workouts that come out, I'm like, oh, I really like that. I like a lot of things that Rich does, because the programming that I kind of really enjoy, or Rich does a good job at. But his is solely that's like a Rich Mayhem thing, right?
Yeah,
like that's just a different world.
But in talking to Rich, and not just me talking to him, but hearing him talk, even people are like, "What do you do for a workout?" He's like, "Well, I'll just say I'm going to do this and this.
Yeah.
And when I'm done with that, I still feel good, so I'm going to do that." And then maybe I'll do some of that. And that it just seems like he just keeps working.
It's super free flow, and so like Ben is super structured, right? He's all about structure. Rich is just like, take it as it comes. So those are kind of the two parallels I would kind of put in between. The one I've loved the most to see, especially for a lot of just casual fitnessers, is street parking. Yeah.
I've recommended.
What Amanda and Julian has done is so fantastic. And it's such a simple concept, but just like CrossFit is like, none of this is revolutionary.
Yeah.
Right? But they've fit a massive contingent in the fitness community that that was cool.
I've recommended it to many people, because I'm a nobody, and I'm not even a good CrossFitter, and I have so many friends that are like way 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 far down the chain than me, and they're like, "Hey, can you give me a workout today?" And I'm like, I don't want to give you a fucking work. Like, I don't have time to do that. And I'll go to street parking. And, cause I don't know where they are. And I'm like, I don't know what you have available. Yeah. I don't know what, and I'm not going to go through. I can't waste this time with you. So go to street parking. They're going to have something for everyone.
Yeah.
And they're going to do a good job of it. Like, I know each level is going to be done well.
Oh yeah, and it's so detailed and scaled. That is so great. So I would say structure, creativeness, Ben. Just fun, tough workouts, Rich. Street parking, everyone. It just hit me. This is my favorite programmer, just for classic, deceptive CrossFit workouts, is Pat Sherwood and Linchpin.
Interesting. Oh, that's what he calls his Linchpin?
It's CrossFit Linchpin, maybe Linchpin Athletics right now.
Oh, yeah.
But no, he did. He's staying affiliated, so I don't know what he's.
Oh, he is. I thought he was.
Well, he was out, and now he's coming back as things shed light, which is why we don't knee-jerk react to things that happen. But his classic .com-ish CrossFit workouts are the best. So I love what Pat Sherwood does.
Yeah,
in terms of just simplicity and.
I have to say this. A lot of these guys, I listen to their methodology or their how they program, and they are talking to me, and I'm looking at them like, you're full of shit. You're just fucking lying right now. Like, there is not this science to. I'm not going to name names, but they've shown me on their computers and how they do their Excel spreadsheets, or they do this, and I'm just sitting there going, I could do the same thing. I could do the same thing, and if I see in the morning class that it wasn't pushing them hard enough, I bump up the weight, and now all of a sudden I've put them into this. So I'm like, I could do this. What you're doing, it's. I think you're full. So to hear James Fitzgerald, when he explained his to me, I was like, okay, I get it. Like, there's like, I felt like there was science. Like, I would put myself, if I wanted to take this seriously, like really seriously, and be the best I could be, I would not feel badly about putting myself in. I would feel I'd feel very good about putting myself in his hands.
Yeah, I mean, he does a very good job of being like detail oriented, like numerically, factually, scientifically based programming. Like he does do a good job of that. But and to your point, is like, if you're going to long wind explain to me how your programming works, I was like, I don't trust you.
Yeah,
because it's really not that hard. Right? It's like short, medium, long, heavy, light, long. Okay, done. Make sure it all fits. Don't get too redundant. It's just a CrossFit gym.
I always talk about Duffy Gaver, who's been on Duffy owned CrossFit gym in LA, and he's a former Navy SEAL, and he's Brad Pitt's trainer, and he's just the coolest guy in the world. And you talk to Duffy, and you're like, so how do you train your clients? He's like, I make them work out. And you're like, but what do you make them do? He's like, they lift weights, do some calisthenics, some cardio, and then I tell them to eat chicken, rice, and broccoli. And they're like, well, what else to their nutrition? What are you at? And he's like, chicken, rice, and broccoli. He's like, you want to get in shape for a movie? You want to look good? And it's just so. He's like, it's just hard work. I just fucking make them work hard, and they look good and do well, and. But then you talk to Ryan Flaherty over at Nike, who's one of the smartest people I've ever talked to in my life. And he's pulled from all these amazing geniuses like Charlie Francis and stuff. And you're like, oh, yeah, I get it. Like, you know from swimming, there are people out there that know shit that can change you. Yes.
And that's kind of the fun part about what we're doing with the podcast is just like getting into people's heads and trying to see exactly like where they're coming from, what makes them tick, why it's different, because it's all CrossFit.
So what about someone like Hinshaw?
Exactly. That's exact person I'd want to talk to. Yeah. How do you take this almost like endurance model and apply this to the CrossFit model? How do you make those two things blend? Because that is a necessary component of, especially when you're talking like competitive CrossFit. But say you just wanted to, like, I was doing triathlons all the way up to an Ironman while I was doing CrossFit when I first started. And I was using CrossFit as a way to like get in shape, like in a different way. But he would know how to do that better than anything that I would ever know. And there's room for that. You know, you have all these endurance people like, oh, I can't do CrossFit. I'm training for an Ironman. Like, yes, you can.
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah.
You know, but I was just making shit up. This guy knows exactly.
It's so funny you're talking to me right now because I'm training. I said I'm going to do the Ironman this year. And
which one?
I don't know. I want to do, because when I went on that
you gonna have them?
I did that. No, some of them are I signed up for the one in Montreal, and then I got my money back because it's in August, and they said they're probably not going to have it. And then when I did that 68-mile, I did a 68-mile run with Hunter and Tommy Hackenbrook.
Yeah.
And what I did was I was just like, it looks fucking impossible. I'm just going to do it. And I feel like wherever you set the bar, you're going to jump over it. So I was like, what's the hardest Ironman out there? And there's these things, these like X-Tries, they call them, like the Norseman and the Bearman and all these things.
Like the Xterra or something.
And I said to my buddy Winston Fisher, who's been on the show, has done like crazy, crazy endurance events. He's done Ride Across America twice. He's done 7 continents, 7 days, 7 marathons. He's done, he's done everything. And I said, hey, what are the chances I could do a Norseman or a Bearman? He goes, never, ever, ever. And I go, looks like that's what I'm doing now. Yep. And I was like, because if I do an Ironman, I'm just like one of a million people that have done it. If I do that, people are like, what are you, fucking crazy? Like, you'll die doing that. And but I think you have to qualify for some of these. So I'm trying to find something that's
brutal. That might
brutal.
be a barrier of safety.
Yeah,
too.
Yeah. I mean, I saw the water temperature at the Norseman is 50 degrees.
That's not that bad.
That's bad.
I mean, it's cold.
You ever swim in 50 degrees?
Yeah.
I took my lifeguarding test in 54. I almost cried.
I swam Alcatraz with no wetsuit.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, bro.
No wetsuit.
No wetsuit.
That was probably about 54.
54. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I took my lifeguard test in a Speedo too. And what's Alcatraz? Half mile?
No, it's over a mile.
Okay. This was
like
about
1.1.
My lifeguard test, I think, was 3/4. Yeah.
They ferry you out to the island. You jump out and you
swim. Oh, yeah, I've seen it. I was supposed to. Funny story. I tried to sign up for that. Couldn't get in. Tried like pulling a celebrity.
It's so hard.
Could not get in. Couldn't get in. I'm on the #1 radio show in San Francisco all the time. Like, always on it. I would go on. I would talk about it. Get me in. They're like, it's run by a company out of LA, so they don't even listen to the radio. They don't give a fuck. So finally, 1 week before it, I get a call from the radio station. They're like, hey, we got you into the Alcatraz triathlon.
No.
They're like, do you want to do it? And I'm like, I haven't trained at all. And my wife's like, you should still do it. And I'm like, no, I'm not getting in shark-infested water with like...
Dude.
Shark infested.
I've done it 3 times.
Have you really?
Yeah. My whole family did it.
Jesus.
So my mom swam in college. I swam in college. My youngest brother swam in college. My dad played football, and my middle brother played football. And then, the 3rd year we did it, we paired up with a family member who wasn't a swimmer. So like my mom swam with her dad, who was like 75 at the time.
Wow.
I swam with my dad, and then my little brother swam with my middle brother.
To kind of coach them along?
Yep. And that was cool. That was the last time we did it. It was a whole family thing. So I've done it 3 times, and I did it 1 time without a wetsuit. I think it was the last time I did it. I promised myself that I would nut up and do it.
Fuck.
And I will never do it again.
My buddy that did it is a really good swimmer. He's a swim coach of a high school, and he had a really bad swim time. And I looked at it because I was following it while he was doing it. I go, what happened to your swim? He goes, there was this chick having a panic attack in the middle of the water. And he goes, I was worried she was going to drown. So I had to like coach her along and keep her from her freak out. And he goes, I just got worried about her. He goes, she was really bad shape, and I just couldn't leave her. And I was like, yeah, your time sucked. And he's like, yeah, it made my bike time faster, because he's like, it was like a piece of, and they had the currents going with them that day.
Okay.
And he said it was cake for him. But Kenny Kane, you know Kenny Kane from Oak Park Fitness, CrossFit LA, owner of CrossFit LA?
Yeah.
His mother held the record for years of swimming Golden Gate Bridge.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Dang.
She had the record. She could still have it for all I know.
Wow.
Did you think about the sharks at all while you were there?
Yeah, actually, I thought I ran into one.
Are you serious?
Yeah, dead serious. So
you could have.
So when we did the partner swim, I was with my dad. And funny, you're talking about the story of someone panicking. We jump in and we swim. You know, my dad is like 6'2", 250. He's a middle linebacker.
Yeah.
Right. And we hit the water, and he just starts straight panicking. And I've never seen my dad afraid of anything, let alone panic. So straight panic. Can't breathe. I'm like, oh my God. Like, you don't go underwater. I will not be able to save you.
Yeah.
You go down.
Oh my God.
So the boat comes back, and by this time, everyone's gone. It's just me and him sitting outside Alcatraz Island.
Oh, geez.
Boat comes up, picks him up. I take off. So I take off, and I'm trying to catch up to people, and then
which makes you a little hyperventilating, kind of.
A little bit, you know, and then so like I thought I was getting close to people, and you know, I hit someone's goggles,
mm-hmm.
and I look back, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm sorry, there's nobody here.
I've had that surfing. I've kicked something,
Dude.
And I'm like, what was that?
And it hurt, and it was hard, and there was no one there, no one. So I might as well have been running on water on the way back to shore. But for my dad, is that we're waiting on shore, can't see my dad. A whole family's there waiting for him. He comes out of the water.
Oh, so he did it.
He comes out of the water, and I was like, half his wetsuit's off, and I was like, what the hell happened? He goes, so I got on the boat, and I started panicking, and I was saying I couldn't breathe. And so the guy unzipped his wetsuit, and he goes, oh, that's better. And just back rolled into the water and finished all by himself.
Swam dragging half a wetsuit?
His wetsuit was too tight. He literally couldn't breathe because the wetsuit was too tight. He was perfectly fine after that.
I've had panic attacks in wetsuits, and literally one day didn't go surfing. Perfect waves, brand new wetsuit, went to put it on. It was too small. As I was putting it on, I went, nope. My buddy's like, look at these waves. I'm like, I don't care. I'm not putting this thing on because I'm afraid I'll never get this thing off. And my wife, first wetsuit I ever bought her, I walk into the surf shop like late. Like she was in there and I was parking the car. I come in and the dude just looks at me behind the counter, total surfer. He goes, dude, you better go help your chick. She's having a panic attack in the dressing room.
Oh no.
But, I need to tell you this and I'll try to find it for you somewhere online. They tag a lot of sharks, great white sharks, you know, and then they monitor them every time. Every time they surface, they have a radar beep of where they were.
Ping.
Yeah. Geotag or whatever it is. For some reason, a lot of great whites migrate from San Francisco to Hawaii and back. And they stop about halfway. I think they call it the cafe where the sharks stop and they think that's where they might mate.
Oh, okay.
But they go to Hawaii, I forget which island, maybe the Big Island or something, and then they come back and they literally go through the Golden Gate Bridge, turn around and go back out. So it's like right where you were swimming.
No. I'm good with that. To never do it again.
Yeah. I just got a text.
That was the biggest fear going into it. It wasn't even like the cold of the water kind of like shocked you out of it a little bit. But sharks.
I've learned to put the shark thing. The one good thing that'll help you and anybody out there that's listening, if you're doing a competitive event, there has never been a shark attack in a competitive swimming event ever. In saying that, wouldn't want to be the straggler.
Right. I was like, you know what? I don't feel like winning, but I'm not going to lose. I'm going to just park it right here in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah. My buddy just told me today, he's like, he's a really good swim coach. And he's like, pick your own line. He's like, get outside of everyone. It's going to take you a little bit to get outside. He's like, but get outside and then swim your own race without that group, without getting kicked in the face and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, I think I'll stay.
Yeah.
I'll stay in that pack.
Do that.
Stay in that fluttering pack that doesn't
just ride someone's feet.
That we all punch the shark together. Yeah. I didn't know you did that. I had a guy over here. My wife just brought a friend over the other night and her boyfriend is like somehow brought up that he barefoot runs. And I'm like, oh yeah, what do you barefoot run? He's like, oh, I did San Francisco Marathon, back and forth.
Barefoot?
Yeah, barefoot. I go, how'd it go? He goes, a little bit of swelling in my feet, but pretty much okay.
Nope.
I don't know. I'm kind of into it.
I respect all that. There's just certain things I just don't want to do.
I think if you can toughen them up, like a couple miles here, 3 miles, I think it's the way to go.
I'm just afraid of that one rock.
Yeah.
That'll put me down for the count. Or like my son's Lego.
Oh, that Lego. How funny. That's like such an old joke in comedy. That's like the hackiest joke in the world. And then it happened to me. And I was like, oh, this is why people fucking talk about this.
Yeah. I've hit one thing finally to where, and I hit it and I was like, the mad dad put your toys away moment. And I just kind of sat there and held it because he was upstairs sleeping. I was like, this is kind of funny actually.
How awesome's the little girl? Isn't it amazing?
Man, she's great. She's just a happy baby.
I told you though, girls are great.
I love it.
Oh, she's a fatty?
Yes.
So is my little boy.
Oh. But yeah, you're right. It's great.
Girls are
this
awesome.
whole level of like with my son, I was like, oh, I'm going to raise a man, and I have this like job to do. And then when she was born, I'm like, I just want to love you.
Yeah, you do. But it almost like these days, I feel like it's women have the advantage because as a dad, I look at my daughter like, I want to love you so much. But I also like, my daughter's like, hey, there's this boy faster than me in class, Aiden. I'm like, you're going to beat his ass.
Yes.
You can beat any boy. And I treat her just like I treat my son. I wonder how there's like this. I try to wonder, how is there sexism? How is there misogyny? How does all that stuff exist? Because if you're a father, you love your daughter so much. And I could never imagine thinking of my daughter as inferior to a man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how did it ever happen?
I think it was honestly, this is another thing, but like just this whole cultural upbringing for hundreds of years. Yeah. It's like this person thought this way, so that's how it was. It's like, I actually talked to my grandmother about this because we were talking about CrossFit and stuff. She's like, we were just told we couldn't do push-ups or pull-ups. And so we just accepted that. Yeah. And it was like this acceptance. It was nothing that was ever inherently wrong with it. It wasn't like degrading. It was just the way it was. Now you look back on it and it was all those things.
Yeah, but I would have been like, okay, if that was going on, I would look at my daughter and be like, you can do it.
I know, right? Like, hey, let's buck the trend.
Yeah.
And it's so weird. And I think sometimes it's the hardest part for me to kind of grasp a lot of the problems you see anywhere. It's like, that is just not an issue for me. Or, and so like with everything that is, happening, it's like, I've never been more pumped to be a dad because I'm like, this is all bullshit. Yeah. Like I'm going to teach you guys. I hope, and it's going to take time. And that's the problem. Like people need to be persistent and unwavering for a long time. But I hope in high school, my kids look at me and see what was going on at this time. And they just go, what the fuck was wrong with you? And then I will realize I did a good job as a dad. Yeah. That's what I want. And I don't know. I couldn't tell you, but we did the best we can with you. And like, that's what I want. I want them to look back because I think that's how long it'll take to truly become like this, what was wrong with you moment. Yeah. And then I'll realize that I did a good job.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I think I'm doing a good job, and then sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I've created a psycho.
Oh, I screw up daily.
My daughter, I say, when I had a girl, I was like, oh God, dating. There's going to be guys when she's like 16 coming over to the house, and I'm gonna answer the door with a gun and be like, what, And now I'm gonna answer the door and be like, dude, I'm so sorry. What she's gonna do to you? This girl is gonna ruin your life. You have no idea.
But I will say is I was terrified of it, but you were the one, and I tell you the story all the time, that actually made me to completely flip the script on how I approached having a daughter. So
what did I?
So like, because I was terrified, I was like, boys and dates and, you're not going to leave the house until you're 25 years old. And you're like, dude, just you have the opportunity to raise a strong, confident, not rely on any one woman. And I was like, hell yeah. Okay. Because I had this like fear of raising someone who would be vulnerable. Mm-hmm. I was like, well, why? I can have a total control over that. And so you actually made me pumped to have a daughter.
And girls are great because, like, my wife gives her all the feminine stuff and gives her all, like, they do crafts together and they go shopping and they watch all the girly movies. And then, and then my daughter and I go outside and do, like, ninja ropes and she's starting jujitsu and I'm like, with a girl, you get to make this, like, amazing, well-rounded human being where I feel like men are going to be neglected as women are growing and men are going to have just this, like, dad just says I'm allowed to play football and that's it. And she gets to do crafts. And, I love it. We treated my daughter, I will admit, we treated my daughter differently where, she fell down and you pick her up and you hug her and you're like, you're okay. And blah, blah, blah. And then my son falls down and I'm like, get up.
Yep. That's what I currently do with my son. And our kids are flipped. Like, have the older girl and the younger boy, but anytime my son falls, I was like,
yeah.
Get your ass up.
Even my daughter, I go, toughen up. And I do stuff like, I always tell my wife, she'll be like, go help. And I'm like, nah, I can tell when she's hurt. When she's hurt, I'm there for her. If she just wants attention, she's not getting it. Like there's
a certain pitch they hit when they cry. You're like, oh, this is for real.
Yeah. Yeah. You see the blood come out and you're like,
dude, I've busted my son's face up more times than I care to admit with him just running into things. And the mouth bleeds so much more than I was led to believe.
Yeah. But I still haven't seen my kid get 1/10 of the injuries I got. Mm-hmm. And I'm okay. But I'm terrified. I'm terrified of them getting sick, hurt, anything. Yeah. I've had Johnny Mosley on this podcast a bunch, or not a bunch, just once, but I'm friends with him. And his kid just had an appendix burst.
Oh, shoot.
And rushed to the hospital and the whole thing. And I read the whole story about it. And I was like, I would have shit my fucking pants. So like these parents that have kids in like cancer wards or anything.
Dude, I was just thinking about that. I can't. Like, even when I see it on TV, I get so like emotional. And
I'd like to do work for because it's the saddest thing in the world, but I don't think I can because I don't think I can get close to it because it's just too horrifying.
That is just because like they're like kids. Like, you haven't even gotten a chance yet.
There was a time in the we were in the hospital for like 3 or 4 days. My wife had a C-section, and there was like day 2 or day 1, something was going on. I forget what it was. How the baby was sleeping. Something happened that his lips got a little purple.
Oh,
and the nurses came in and they were looking at him, and all of a sudden the nurse goes, "We got to go." And she put the baby like in his little thing and said, "Come with me, Dad." And we started like wheeling him down the hallway to like a doctor's station. And my heart stopped. I was like, is this fucking happening right now? Like I'm about to just run through a wall like the Kool-Aid Man and just start. Like this can't happen. And and it's one of those things where when you have children, I warn people, I go, it's the greatest thing in the world. But you're also leaving yourself up to be the most vulnerable you've ever been in your life, that if anything ever happened, you're going to feel worse than you've ever So like, I remember having kids and going, why the fuck did I do this?
Right.
Why have I done this? And it's so scary.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm glad to hear everything's great with you.
Thanks, man.
What's the podcast name?
Get with the Programming.
Oh, nice.
So we'll take on Get with the Program.
Nice. And is Bill still kicking ass?
Yes, he is.
He works out like a monster.
Yeah. It's almost unfair.
Yeah, it really is. How good would he could still win the Masters, right? If he wants to.
Yes.
Yeah. He just doesn't take it as seriously.
No, he's just got a lot of life things going on, man.
Yeah.
But he's still kicking ass. Like, it's ridiculous. I'll see some of his workouts even now. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. And I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah.
You're a dick.
It's funny. I have Margot on next week.
No shit.
Yeah. I love Margot.
I love Margot. I got to spend a couple days with her because she was on the road call with us. She might be one of the nicest human beings.
Amazing. And
that's one of those, if I have a daughter, I'm just like, please grow up and be Margot.
Yeah. You know what?
Or 50%.
I thought she was too good to be true when I met her. I'm like, she's a fake. You can't be this good. And then I was like, no, she just really is a quality human being.
She's better in person.
Yeah, she makes me feel shit about myself.
Oh gosh.
So you guys all got together though for the Rogue thing.
Yes.
Where'd you do it out of? Columbus?
So we did it at Salt Lake City, actually.
Why Salt Lake?
I think there was one of the production or media entities that they were working with centrally located there. And somehow, some way, how Salt Lake City falls in the earth, it's just a really good connection for all the live streaming that they had to connect through across the world. And so they just, that's where they housed everything. It was really nuts. Just in the middle of nowhere, Salt Lake City.
That is so cool. I just, because I wondered if you guys were at headquarters, and then I was like, why did you guys even have to go? None of them had to go. Why couldn't you have all done it? Just,
I think for us, so there was two options. Like if we couldn't travel, we would have done it like that. But for ease of simplicity, because it was already so complex, interjecting us as part of that would have made it 3 times harder if we couldn't be like right there on site with all the changes that were happening, because they could just talk to us and we were all like hardwired in.
Right.
But it is easier because like, me and Sean were separated in the room, but we could still kind of like see each other. And, like Margot was secluded in like an office like this, like all by herself.
Sounds like you guys didn't need to be there.
Yeah. I mean, could they have done it without us being there? Yes. Did it help a lot? And was it really nice to be there? Hard, yes.
Okay.
But yeah.
The other question I had for you about that, Texas is totally, you guys don't think COVID exists, right?
I'm starting to get that vibe.
My buddy was just there. He's like, no one, like people are in rivers. Oh, Hunter McIntyre was down there in Austin.
Oh, was he there? Oh,
he's like, everybody's just swimming. There's parties at bars and, it's.
Although Salt Lake's a little like that too, because like when I flew, I am to the letter over the top protective with the whole COVID thing.
Yeah, you got kids, you gotta be. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I get on the flight and I got the one Jacko that wants to talk to me the whole time.
Oh.
And I'm like, please stop talking.
Yeah.
No one else on this plane is talking. But you, and you're loud and you're drunk and you forget what I tell you every 5 minutes.
Fuck.
And it was terrible.
Keep your spit in your mouth.
So I land and I get in this Uber and the guy's like, do you care that I don't have a mask? I'm like, no. And I just like, can I keep mine on, please? And so I think Salt Lake's pretty loose on that too. But yeah, Texas is its true lawless self, and they kind of don't believe in it, and which is why
is your gym back
Dallas
open?
I opened up on the 1st, so we were allowed to open up mid-May, but I waited till the 1st because I was just in a wait and see. I was like, let's see who does things well, let's see who does things poorly. Learn from their mistakes, and then open up on the 1st. And it's been great.
Any members have it?
New ones?
Any?
We had one, but it was prior to opening.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a non-issue.
My in-laws where I'm staying belong to a country club that it's like 5 houses down from us, and they opened up like a week ago, and they shut down on Monday.
No. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. There might be another shutdown here in like a week, I heard.
Yeah.
Which I might not do the second time around.
Because
we don't operate like a gym. Like we take care of our stuff. Like it is all mapped out, and I'm way over the top of that thing. Like it is all mapped out. And it's just like, just be responsible, please.
Hey,
so we'll see what happens with that.
Last thing. What's that affiliate thing that you posted today and everybody's posting?
So it's it's actually one of the things I was hoping to see from HQ is that, the biggest problem, not the biggest, one of the problems is that there's no communication between affiliates and HQ.
Right.
Literally zero.
Yeah.
People joke like the only email they would get from headquarters is when it was time to pay your affiliate dues, which is pretty much. But one of the things I wanted to see is most all problems stem from a lack of communication. You can boil it all down to that, right? And not to oversimplify it, but there's nothing. There's no, no one listened to the 15,000 voices where maybe there was a collective issue and that it just felt like it wasn't heard. So what this is CrossFit's initiative to give voices to affiliate communities, which is what I wanted. And there should be an affiliate board or spokesperson in HQ helping make decisions on what direction the company should go in terms of issues they're facing, community projects they can be involved in. Like there needs to be that transparent communication directly from the affiliates to HQ in both directions. So this is what that initiative is really going to be. And, Texas has been deemed as its own kind of region within the United States. And, something I've been advocating for to begin with is now a thing. And so I want to be a part of that change, right? I want to be a voice that can allow change to happen. Whereas, some of my colleagues have decided to de-affiliate that have been the longest standing members in Texas, which I respect. And some of that needed to happen, but there also needs to be a stand taken to affect that change other than just like taking your ball and go home. Not saying that's exactly what they did metaphorically, but both things needed to happen, and it won't be effective without one or the other. And so I'm in the stance of I want to stand for change, maybe have an effect on it, maybe change it, and then bring everybody back in because nobody wants to leave.
Is Glassman going to let them back in?
And see, that's the big question. I mean, you're not going to let your affiliates back in? I mean, that's the whole point to begin with. It's like if everybody leaves, you're done.
Yeah. It's going to be weird.
It is weird, and it's hard time, and everyone's so charged up with every new piece of information they get, they react to it. And, we made our initial statement 10 days ago that we are not with what Greg said and what, the issues may be there internally. But at the same time, it's like I didn't spend 12 years of my life giving up an entirely different world to watch this get torn apart for something that isn't what CrossFit is. And what 15 other affiliates have spent the last years building. So
if I was Glassman, I'd take all your money, head to Ibiza, get COVID, and just ride off into an ecstasy-laced sunset and just
by all means, as long as you leave it to us after you're done, fine. I was actually talking to Rich about this, and this is thought ideas that may not actually take place. Someone with a business degree will tell me I'm an idiot. But I want 15,000 affiliates to pay a $5,000 buyout fee for Greg Glassman's controlling stake of the company. And then give it to us. Give us our 0.05% or whatever that would be to take away the 51%.
Yeah.
And buy him out, give you your money that you created, and then just go to Aruba or whatever it is, whatever you just said.
It's, I think
that's a pipe dream, but
there's so many different people that I've talked to with so many different ideas that,
and maybe that's the conversation while we have these representatives for affiliates to just start talking.
Yeah. Yeah. Instead of,
we'll see. So that's what it is. So I nominated myself to represent Texas, but this is everything to me. Everything I currently have in my life right now, without being like a hyperbole, is because I walked into a CrossFit gym December 2008. Every single thing. Athlete, coach, games athlete, met my wife, got on seminar staff, became a broadcaster, and opened up my own affiliate. Now I have 2 kids.
You still do
Do
you still do seminar stuff?
I just retired because the second kid was coming.
Yeah, the travel.
So me and my wife had this conversation is that, everything centers around the family.
Yeah.
Right? My business is a little nuanced because a lot of my life is dedicated to making others better. Right? So it's a little bit hard to balance the two sometimes, and I don't always do the best job of that, especially in the home side. I'm not saying I'm absent, but it's just like, remember, they're not just some people that you need to help. They're like, you're your kids and
Yeah.
your wife.
Yeah.
But so I pulled myself back from that to be able to be home a lot more. As things progress and grow, I would love to go back if I have the time and availability, because that was some of the most rewarding weekends ever, is to just infuse that love and that passion and everything I love about CrossFit.
That's what Glassman said.
Exactly, right? And so that's kind of where I got so upset, because like all the trainers were like that.
Yeah.
And all the affiliate owners were like that. Maybe not all of them, right? There's some that just bailed because it was the perfect time for them to look good.
Sure.
And I'm not going to name names, but there's some that are taking advantage of the situation. Now they look like these ambassadors of goodwill.
I was just about to cough a name. I'll just say it off air.
Yeah, say it off air. But I'm like, you motherfuckers took your name off the door 10 years ago.
Yeah.
See, I'm getting mad. I'm getting hot.
Yeah. Well,
but I'm very passionate, because people needed to show that they will do a mass exodus if things don't change. But also the other 14,000 that decided to stay because of what they want to stand for need to stay and stand for that change too. It both need to happen. And I want to be on the side of standing firm in what I believe in. Not to get all.
Well, this is why I've always been 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I like to straddle the fence. I like to be on both sides. I like my whole goal is to have no one mad at me. Meanwhile, everybody is. So, so it's worked out for me. What's your podcast again?
Get with the Programming.
Get with the Programming. Your Instagram is
Chase_Ingraham.
And your name spelled like Laura Ingraham.
Ingraham, like Ingraham.
Are you the same as is it Laura Ingraham? Is hers spelled the same way?
I'm not the same as her, but yes, it's spelled the same way.
You are. You are the same person.
We share different views on a lot of things.
You are the same. You have the same genitalia.
Exactly.
There, I left it for and we're not going to say which one of you has which.
I was going to say, which direction are we going?
Dude, thanks for doing it. I really appreciate it.
I actually loved how this all kind of just unfolded naturally.
Yeah. I was trying to think of someone to have on the show, and I was talking to my friend. I go, I don't want anyone controversial. I don't want to provoke. Like last week, I wanted to have a debate, have an in and out, and people were like, "This is too hot. I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk." And I was like, you know what? I'm not. That's not what I want to have my show. Is I get a breakout episode because everybody's like, oh, he's talking. And so I was like, I've been consistent and being middle of the road. So that's what I'm going to do. And I was like, let's just have a fun conversation today. Thanks for doing that.
Dude. Thanks for having me on.
And thanks for listening, everybody. I'm going to hit stop now, but I got to talk to you 1 second before I go. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for listening. Check out the Wadcast podcast. Use our Patreon. Do everything. You know what? I don't need to tell you to listen before. Goodbye.